Good afternoon. My name is Frank Valdivieso, and I am a member of the Women in Cloud Advisory Board. I also serve on the advisory board for the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, and I'm a co-founder of the Black Channel Partner Alliance, which you will learn more about later today. The second 40 hours of the week, I'm the president and CEO of Griffin Consulting. We are a managed service provider based in the Washington, D.C. metro area. We've got a great program lined up for you today, and it was amazing to hear that over 2,000 attendees have registered to attend sessions over the next 3 days from over 17 different countries. This is really an amazing event. And one of the things that really stuck with me from the welcome reception last night was something Karen Fazio mentioned, and that is the power of community. And she was making reference to the many organizations that have come together to support one another and Women in Cloud. And I really couldn't help but reflect on some really impactful moments that I've been able to experience as a member of this community over the last year. I'll never forget the town hall session early last year that Lonnie Phillips led for the IMCP in the wake of the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. In that session, Lonnie made members feel comfortable and safe. It was an environment where people could express themselves and talk about how they were feeling about all of the social unrest at that time. That's also the power of community. And I will also certainly never forget the excitement and joy I felt at the IMCP Seattle meeting last year when Gabriella Schuster announced that Microsoft would be engaging and working to attract and develop more Black-owned tech companies in the ecosystem. That moment energized both Nyasha and Tundawani and me to the point that I forgot that I was on a Teams call and my mic was still open. So the people that were still in the meeting could hear me in a very animated way speaking to Nyasha and saying that the time was now for us to do something. Well, that led to an amazing amount of support from several communities within our ecosystem. And that included the IAMCP, Women in Cloud, Microsoft Tech for Social Impact, and Voices for Innovation. That too is the power of community. And all of that really brings me to this moment right here, right now. And at this time, I'd like to bring up to the stage Nyasha Tundawani and Chaitra Vadulapalli to make a very special announcement. Nyasha, Chaitra.
Hello.
Thank you, Frank.
Frank.
Hey, Chad. Excellent. So today we have a very special announcement. We are with family when we're with the WIC community. The Black Channel Partner Alliance, which Frank and I co-founded, is a wealth development organization that's focused on expanding opportunities and access to opportunities for Black-owned technology firms. The urgency of the moment that we're in now requires us to rapidly scale to meet the commitments made by a number of tech CEOs, including Satya Nadella at Microsoft, to expand access to opportunities for Black partners and suppliers. We're extremely grateful to Women in Cloud for the record time that we were able to launch the Black Channel Partner Alliance by leveraging WIC's infrastructure, methodology, and general strategic capabilities to help us get this organization off the ground and funded within a 6-month time frame so that we're able to help Black founders and Black women founders. The partnership will support and scale Black female founders by creating new business opportunities for both Women in Cloud and BCPA founders, leveraging relationship capital across both organizations to really drive additional business and additional revenue opportunities for both of our members and community members. And third, enable WIC founders to engage with channel partners with direct access to clients. We have a lot of service provider and managed service partners that are on the front line. We'd love to get some of the solutions that WIC members are developing in front of those partners. Chai, a couple of comments for you.
Thank you, Nyasha. We are really excited to partner with you and Frank and the rest of the BCPA ecosystem. As you remember, we met, 4 years ago, and one of the things we did was a cloud-ready initiative to really help small businesses like ours to have economic access in the tech industry. It was extremely hard. We realized very quickly it was women and Black founders were really being not given that access. And that's kind of how the precipice of Women in Cloud was. So now I feel is between the Black founders and the female founders coming and driving economic development, we will create a true societal impact and actually a billion-dollar impact. So thank you so much. And we are really excited to have this partnership. And you have our commitment, you have our strength, you have our community supporting you for a great success. So with that, high five, Aisha.
There you go. Thanks, Shay.
There you go. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. You guys can step off stage for the moment. Thank you, Nyasha and Chaitra. I mean, wow. I mean, another amazing moment. The thing that I love about this, all of us here today will be able to say, I was there when Women in Cloud and the Black Channel Partner Alliance partnership was announced. Yet again, another example of the power of community. So in this session today, we're going to be hearing from some amazing Black founders that are going to provide you with information that you can act on and use immediately as it relates to you and your business. I also believe that you will come away feeling empowered and inspired from the content delivered by our speakers and panelists. Last but certainly not least, and this is so important, we'll provide you an opportunity to interact one-on-one with the founders in our mentoring lounge. Again, it's also about making the net work. This is just a phenomenal opportunity for all of you to engage with these phenomenal individuals that we have as part of our program here today. So at this time, I just want to, ensure that you guys engage, are participating with our members here. If you've got questions, go ahead and post those to the Q&A. Obviously, share your experiences in social media as well. So we really want you guys to connect during your time here with us today. So just kind of a real rundown on the agenda here. We've had our opening remarks. I'm going to be bringing up Lonnie Phillips is going to set the stage. And then we'll have Regina Gwynn come up for our power talk and then our panel, and we'll close out with our sponsor remarks. So without further delay, I'd like to introduce Lonnie Phillips. Lonnie Phillips is the Vice President in U.S. Channel Sales for U.S. Channel Sales Microsoft Corporation. Lonnie Phillips brings over 20 years of experience in inclusive leadership and transformation management in the technology industry as a recognized leader within Microsoft. She is a sought-after speaker and collaborates with leaders around the world to drive business and cultural transformation at scale. Lonnie currently serves as Vice President of Channel Sales at Microsoft Corporation and the U.S. One Commercial Partner Organization. Her team supports customers' digital transformation efforts by accelerating co-selling partnerships with Microsoft partners representing a $30 billion business. So please join me in welcoming Lonnie Phillips to the stage. The floor is yours, Lonnie.
Thank you so much, Frank. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. This is an incredible partnership that we have with Women in Cloud, and I am so grateful that you invited me today to set the stage. And the way I thought I would go about setting the stage is I do think it's important for us to talk about how we got here. In a public statement made by Satya Nadella in June 2020, he professed Microsoft's commitment to supporting racial injustice. His commitment included programming and support as we think about growing the representation of African American and Blacks within our partner ecosystem. Our goal was to increase the number of Black and African American partners by 20% over 3 years. Now, it's important to note that with this initiative and commitment, we decided to stand up what we're calling the Black and African American Partner Growth Initiative. Now, how are we thinking about it? I want you to know when you think about the initiative, it really is our long-term strategy to build relationships with these companies. We also want to make sure that as we enroll net new partners into our ecosystem, we want them to have the best of the Microsoft Partner Network, giving them access to resources and community along the way. Now, I want you to know we've only been at this about 6 months, and we're already 1/3 our way to the goal, which is very exciting, but we still have more work to do. And I want you to know we're also committed to doing this over a 5-year period of time because we want to continue to build relationships with those Black and African American tech companies. Now, how are we going to do this? We actually have devised 3 major components to the program: community, partnership, and access to capital. Now, as we are growing this network of partners, we want them to know that we are opening the door to a community of other partners that will be committed to helping them be successful. We're also at Microsoft going to give you really white glove service and support to make sure you have the best of the resources and community that we have available so that you're able to grow and sustain your business over time. We also want to make sure that through the partnerships, you have many learning opportunities on your journey as well. And as you look at the lower quadrant of the slide, you will see the journey as you can go through awareness and learn, enablement, making sure that you can help build your business, market your business, as well as grow your business. And that will all be a part of this program. Now, we all know that startups, and more importantly, any tech company or someone who has a great tech idea always needs access to capital. So one of the things that Microsoft is doing is they're actually taking $20 million and applying it to a payment solution for these new companies to make sure they're able to leverage Microsoft's balance sheet. And we're going to launch that by the end of Q3. Now, this will allow them to have structured payment terms, interest-free for Microsoft products. Now, we have a number of partners that are already in our partner ecosystem that would love to take advantage of this as well. So we have a program that you'll be able to take advantage of as well. We have a $50 million capital access program to increase the access to capital for any net new company or existing company. And we're going to have a pilot program for that we're also going to launch at the end of Q3. Now, we also have allocated $3 million in technical and financial training programs to make sure that we can help everyone along that journey. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, if I'm not already in the partner ecosystem, what would it take to qualify? Well, for you to qualify, you would need to have 51% of your business owned by a Black or African American. Once you've done that, if you're a consulting or services provider, or you can even be an ISV, an independent software vendor, or you can be an other equipment manufacturer, an original equipment manufacturer, an OEM, as well as you can be in the early stages of your idea as a high-tech company and making sure that you're building on the Microsoft platform. I want you to know we are so committed to this program. I'm one of the executive sponsors for this program. We are so excited about the number of companies that we're getting access to. And I think it's going to be incredible as you think about how we're going to mature our partner ecosystem. And I want you to know we've also worked with IAMCP, the International Association of Channel Advisory Partners. They had a number of African American partners there that advised us on how to structure this program and stand it up. Now, we know we still have a lot to learn, but as we continue to invest in this program, we are seeking your input to make sure that you have access to everything that you need to be successful in this program, because we're committed to it for the long term. Now, I want you to know that this is not just one moment in time. We are committed to this for the long haul. So I really want you to make sure, if you're interested in joining this program, let's do this together. On the slide, you will see that you can fill out the form on aka.ms/partnergrowth. If you go to that form and fill it out and share it with your friends and other partner businesses, we'll make sure that we're there to support you on the other end. If you have any questions, feel free to use that email address on the slide as well, because we want to make sure that we answer all the questions that you might have. I also have a table set up in the lounge, and I'll make sure that I'm available there to answer any questions that you have. I'm so excited to be a part of this program, and I'm going to hand the floor back over to Frank to take you to the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Lonnie. Just an amazing program and amazing announcement. And thank you and thank Microsoft for your leadership in this area. All right. It is with great pleasure that I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Regina Gwynn. Regina is the co-creator of Black Women Talk Tech, the largest membership organization of Black women tech entrepreneurs and only conference designed for that community. This collective has a unique understanding of the challenges faced in the technology ecosystem, but also of the advantages they can bring. Its mission is to identify, support, and encourage Black women to build the next billion-dollar business. Regina Gwynn is also the co-founder and CEO of Tres Noir, a beauty tech startup that empowers women of color to celebrate their textured hair with a personalized beauty routine that works. Its virtual beauty coach takes the guesswork out of finding the right natural hair products and services by matching your individual hair profile to a beauty regime designed by experts. Without further delay, I'd like to bring Regina Gwynn up on the stage. The floor is yours, Regina.
Good evening to Chaitra, Karen, and the entire Women in Cloud Summit team. Thank you so much for creating such an amazing experience. I'm so excited. And also thank you to Ram Dutt with WIC Digital Solutions that's sponsoring this Black Founders Circle. And can I just say, I'm loving this overall experience. I'm loving all the techies in the room. I'm loving all of the young ladies, the people that I've met over the past day or so of the conference. I'm just really honored to share this space with everyone today. And so there's been some amazing workshops so far within the summit, right? We've looked at cloud transformation. We've seen persuasive storytelling. And of course, we've learned power moves with Microsoft's top brass. And I hope everyone is connected with at least 10 people and definitely get ready to kick off 2021 with fresh ambitions. But most importantly, I really hope you're gathering valuable, game-changing insights that's helping you find success in your tech endeavors. And so I'd like to build on this theme from an entrepreneurial perspective. So I'll start with a quick story. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so when I was around 9 or 10 years old, I said, you know what? It is time. It's time for me to be my own boss. And so I decided to sell Avon makeup. And I was an Avon representative. I'm pretty sure Avon had no idea that a kid from North Carolina would be selling their products. But I begged my mom to go to the sales meetings, and my teachers thought it was cute for them to buy their lipsticks and Skin So Soft from one of their students. So I encouraged and smiled and took all of those purchases right to the bank. And then I'd walk around the neighborhood, leaving those little Avon baggies and on the little doorknobs. I don't know if anyone remembers any of this years, many moons ago, but I figured out very early that I was a hustler and that I really loved entrepreneurship and knew it was my long-term goal. So fast forward to today, I am the CEO of Tres Noir, a beauty tech startup, as well as the co-founder of Black Women Talk Tech, the largest collective of Black women tech entrepreneurs in the country. Built for women tech founders by women tech founders, the goal of BWTT is to showcase the brilliance of Black women, create a safe space for their experiences, foster deep connections, and create real funding opportunities. We've distributed over $150,000 in cash and prizes to our entrepreneurs and over 40 startups have either received direct funding, closed their funding rounds, or been placed in an investment pipeline as the result of our curated founder investor community. We believe in learning from other founders, partners, and allies who are actively paving the way. Through their triumphs and failures, we gain valuable lessons and insights that inspire and guide our founders' paths to success. We amplify the valuable stories of Black women founders while providing the educational tools and resources needed for them to build billion-dollar businesses. Our community of 30,000 entrepreneurs, investors, and technologists converge to challenge the idea of what a founder looks like. And so today we are talking about power. How can we plug into this limitless reservoir of power to reach our next level of growth, our next level of access, our next level of where our businesses should be growing in the future? And I would offer that we must maximize every single opportunity to drive innovation, own our own leadership narrative, and build meaningful social capital through networks and relationships. We are in a quadruple pandemic of both health, economic, environmental, and racial challenges. And yet there is, in fact, still hope. Founders of color are uniquely qualified to drive innovation at this precise moment because we understand the true power of untapped markets and customers. We see customer pain points through a completely different lens and offer solutions that defy traditional models of messaging and delivery. Innovation designed and led by Black women founders can uncover new market segments, new product offerings, and revenue streams, which is all music to a savvy investor's ears. Innovation also requires systems, infrastructure, and processes that are powered by cutting-edge technology. So founders, make it a high priority to understand emerging technology. Where is it trending? And how are these trends influencing your products or customers in the short or long term? Do they impact supply chain? Does it impact product development? Do they impact customer acquisition? What technical resources and best practices are you leveraging in order to stay ahead of the curve? Creating a strategy for identifying which advancements make sense for your business, and more importantly, having an easy, repeatable process for implementation will create unique company value for your customers. Ladies and gentlemen, we must also leverage innovation to scale smart. Starting a tech business is hard, but scaling a tech business is even harder. There is no clever trick and there's no right way to do it. So finding the least painful approach to failing fast is important. Scaling also involves understanding what innovative tech stack is the best for your business at this new scaling stage. What processes and tools can be put in place to automate tasks, test new functionality, and make your systems more effective and cost efficient. In addition, finding the right technology partners is key. And I could give probably a whole separate power talk on that alone. But having a competent, knowledgeable partner that truly understands the innovation your business is creating is priceless. And especially for non-technical founders, a partner who can translate the complex technical requirements into layman's terms is critical. Founders who can unlock the power of innovation will definitely see their ideas thrive. And if Black women founders don't lead the growth of these ideas, who will? And at what cost? Last year, Black Women Talk Tech released our first research report entitled The New Face of a Founder. And with over 670 Black women tech entrepreneurs surveyed, it is the largest study of this segment ever conducted to date. The average age of the respondents is 34.5, and they live in places outside of New York and California, like Texas, Georgia, and New Jersey. 46% of them also have an advanced professional degree. And this education is combined with a very strong history of entrepreneurial success. According to the American Express State of Women-Owned Businesses report, Black women make up the largest segment of women-owned businesses after non-minority women, and represented the highest rate of growth of any segment between the years 2014 and 2019. Behavioral insights that we also discovered in our report were incredible. 91% of founders surveyed are working full-time and starting and managing a business. And 52% of these founders contribute more than 20% of their personal income to bootstrap their startup. Furthermore, 70% of Black women founders are solo founders, and they're building teams out after launching their business. And while some reports show that startups with solo founders are more successful in the long term than startups with multiple founders, tech investors are often biased towards those co-founding teams. So again, putting Black women entrepreneurs at a disadvantage. Nevertheless, Black women entrepreneurs are moving forward, hiring the right talent to build their businesses, and the sheer amount of time, energy, and money Black women tech founders are putting towards this vision is not only a strong indicator of passion, but of inspired leadership. Leadership is an ongoing exercise in perspective taking from the lens of your customer, your team, and your shareholders, then mapping that back to your vision and the mission of the company. It's about knowing how to pick your battles and determining who should fight them. Leaders draw power from the ability to see the thread of opportunity through each work stream that moves the company forward. Founders of color must get comfortable with leveraging the power of our own voice, education, and expertise while leading technology businesses. When we own this power, this leadership power, we can transform companies that transform the world. An African proverb states that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Building social capital through networks and relationships is the most powerful tool in your arsenal as an entrepreneur. And social capital is more than just traditional networking. It's about building a meaningful network of peers, mentors, friends, and colleagues that will advocate for you, partner with you, and also support the rocket ship growth that your startup is experiencing. Social capital builds trust and credibility, and also it's critical for social capital to exist as your startup yet again is trying to scale. And so it's so essential to start building that social capital before that scaling actually happens. And so it's never too late to start developing this very important currency. And while many would like to believe that tech entrepreneurship is a meritocracy, that is simply not true. So until there's a level playing field, we have to pull every single lever possible to succeed in spite of these obstacles. Social capital's ingredients are networks and relationships. And honestly, I'm not aware of any startup that's seen overwhelming success without tapping into these networks and relationships. These communities expose you to new ideas, provide valuable education for your mentors, raise your profile, and really expand the diversity of perspective. I have leaned very heavily into my own networks, even starting as an Avon representative and transitioning into my career as a tech entrepreneur. And so tap into your networks, make your networks work for you. I believe the founder of the next Microsoft is in this room. The next Pandora is in this room. This community is bursting with opportunities, innovations, and ideas that need just the right partner to create that new opportunity. I'm humbled to create safe spaces for Black women entrepreneurs at BWTT, and to not only be unapologetic in that directive, but have allies and partners to support it. It is a powerful act to convene a group of Black women to build wealth and scale using technology businesses. And it is a radical act to showcase Black women supporting each other and publicly celebrating their wins. We are changing the idea of what a tech founder looks like. And the list of Black women tech founders I could name could go on and on and on. So now what? We have refined and sharpened our skill set. Our networks are growing, and the untapped opportunity is vast. We should continue to demand a seat at the table, but it's also time to make our own tables. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the time to own our power is now. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to learning and experiencing the rest of the panelists that we're about to see.
Wow. Thank you, Regina. Very, very good content there. And I love when you said, if you want to go far, go together. Again, another example of the power of community. So you can go ahead and you can turn your mic off and your camera off for us now. At
Sounds
this point
good.
in time, I'd love to call up to the stage my colleague, my friend, my brother, Nyasha Tundawani, who's going to be leading our panelists. Nyasha, come to the floor.
Frank, and that was a phenomenal presentation. I love the idea of gathering a community of Black women together to really collaborate and create a peer experience. So it is my honor to present to you a phenomenal panel. I've had the pleasure of meeting all of these women over the last few weeks as we prepare for this session. And I would love to bring all of the panelists up to the stage, and then we'll go ahead and have them introduce themselves. So if you could come on, and then we'll get the panel going. Perfect. Okay. So do we have everyone? Awesome. Very cool. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Excellent. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll do an introduction, and I would love to hear what you love about what you do. So your name, your company, and what it is that you love about what you do. So we'll go ahead and start with Edith.
Putting me on the spot. Okay, everyone. This is Jage, and I am CEO and co-founder of Ariel for Africa. I am a Kenyan based in Africa, and we are one of the Women in Cloud partners, providing access to the continent. I am a serial and social entrepreneur, so everything I do is around creating jobs for young people. And I love it because I'm able to point to thousands of young Africans that are living better because I stuck to my journey. So that's why I love what I do.
Perfect. Lauren.
Yeah, so thank you for the assist, Nyasha. I'm so pleased to be here in the audience at the WIC Summit. This space is so important with these beautiful, brilliant minds, both on the stage and in the audience. So what I love about what I do, what my company does, All in Recruiting and Talent Boutique, we hire top talented and diverse professionals across the country for big tech, like Microsoft and Shark Ninja and many others. And it's a very satisfying role, and we are happy to present opportunity today. Thank you.
Cool. Tiffany.
Hi, everyone. I am Tiffany Standard. I am based in Philadelphia. I am so excited to be here, have the opportunity to be a part of the Women in Cloud community for a little over a year now. I am the founder and CEO of Stimulus, and Stimulus is a relationship intelligence platform that uses data analytics to help companies of all sizes and across industries really make better purchasing decisions based upon data. And as we talked about here, relationships and the importance of doing that when you're selling your product or service, or when you're buying a product or service, and we really help with that relationship mapping and building, because most spend and purchasing platforms really focus just on transactions, but there's nothing that really digitizes when you're searching and trying to find a supplier, evaluate them, and build that relationship. And I am a proud Women in Cloud Microsoft Accelerator alum, graduated 2020 cohort 3, shout out to cohort 3, and very excited to be here.
Very cool. Taisha.
Hey everyone, so my name is Taisha O'Brien. I'm the founder and head of strategy for Seam Social Labs, and we just finished cohort 4 for Women in the Cloud. Super proud alum and very pleased to have been a part of the program. Our solution provides an opportunity for companies and government agencies to gather inclusive data. So we use SMS text messaging so people can conduct surveys in multiple languages so you can better engage diverse communities. What really makes me very pleased about what myself and my team does is that we empower communities that are often underrepresented when it comes to civic engagement, when it comes to public research, and ensure that their voice becomes a part of critical decisions that are made in their communities. So every day we're having a really big impact, and I think that is the driving force that motivates me and my team.
Perfect. So one of the things that's really incredible about the audience at the Women in Cloud Summit is you have everyone from I have a job and an idea to I'm an eternal entrepreneur and I will never do anything other than this, and I'm completely unemployable. So that's you, Edith, I believe. When people are non-technical and they're trying to break into this phenomenal opportunity that is the tech space, what guidance do you have for non-technical people as they enter the space, either as founders or as employees? And Lauren, it sounded like you really wanted to address non-technical people entering the industry. So I will let you take that one.
Okay, yeah, sure. So that's a great question, Aisha. I think there are several ways to answer it, right? And the number one thing would be the mentality shift. And so we often hear that we are breaking into tech. The reality is that breaking in sounds like you don't belong, right? You do belong. You do belong. And so we have to address that verbiage and address it as transitioning into technology. And so what that means is there are opportunities for women that are non-technical and technical that are in tech, right? And so when we think about jobs and opportunities that are available, we have to think about the marketing team. We have to think about the accounting team. We have to think about the product managers or the project managers, the program managers, right? The diversity executives and the operations executives. So don't count yourself out. There is space for you. Edith will echo that, I'm sure. And, we have opportunity here, just like Lonnie presented with Microsoft. What an amazing initiative for Black and Brown communities, underrepresented communities. So this is our time now. And so don't feel that there are barriers because the doors are open.
Yeah, I would love to add to that. It's definitely important to, like Lauren said, understand so many different roles that are in, starting a technology company or working for a technology company, and understanding who you want to be within those companies, whether it's, if you don't have technical skills, learning them. There's so many amazing boot camps and accelerators that you can do to learn those skills if you choose to. But don't feel pressure to as well. If your skill set is business and operations and development or marketing and media, those companies need that as well. And if you're starting your own startup, those are needed to run your business. And the good thing about running a business, you know how to hire for the things that you don't know. And that's the point of being a CEO. You don't know everything. So you're going to hire against the stuff that you don't know, but know enough to hire the right people and know enough to fire the wrong people. So.
Perfect. Excellent. So all of you at some point decided that the risk of stepping away from that safety net, that job, except Edith, who started off a little differently, and we'll get into that in a bit. All of you decided the risk of stepping away from the job was such that I'm going to go out and I'm going to explore this entrepreneurship thing. Can you talk us through just weighing that decision and how you decided it's time for me to go?
I can start. Just based on my experience. And Regina actually had me think about, I used to sell Avine too with my grandma, Skin So Soft and all of that. So I actually forgot about that because it was so long ago at this point. I was like, I did that. So technically I've always been an entrepreneur, selling different things, lipsticks and whatnot. But I did have a lot of different jobs over the years, worked at a corporation for a while doing payroll, but always ran my business part-time. And around the recession, 2008, 2009, they were in a process of laying people off. So you either could wait to see if you were going to get laid off or volunteer to get laid off. And I was there for a few years. I wasn't happy. I was ready to run my business full time. And they were going to lay you off, not only with the package, but your savings and pays and all of that. So I decided to really take that leap because honestly, it was the time, because they were giving me an option, which hardly ever happens, right? You sometimes just take a leap and whatever's in your bank account is in your bank account. But I knew leaving, I was going to have a little, runway and be able to fund my business for the first few years. So decided to do my business full time from then. And, that corporation became my first corporate client, and we're able to get corporate clients after that. So sometimes you have that push where you really want to do it, but maybe a situation happens that, allows you to say, no, you know what, I'm going to do it now. And thankfully, that happened. And I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for 15 years.
Perfect. So Edith, you took a little bit of a different track. How did you end up in the space that you're in?
Oh my God. Okay. So, unlike my amazing, beautiful counterparts, I am just one of those people who I have always been an entrepreneur at heart. It's literally like a fire that just burns in my heart, and particularly a fire for the African continent and the African people, and providing them with opportunities, supporting entrepreneurs, and just job creation. What is interesting in my journey is that when I finished my post grad, at the time in Massachusetts, sometime in New York as well, I got a lot of job offers, guys, like good job offers. You know, where you're looking at the figures and you're like, I need a minute. I need a minute. But at the end of the day, I had to ask myself, will this be in line with purpose for me? Will I feel this fire in my heart every single morning? Or will I have that regret or that what if? And so I took a leap, right? I took a leap of faith and I decided to chase my passion. And now here I am back in the continent and working with a lot of amazing young people. And just, I honestly don't regret it. It is hard as hell, but I do not regret my decision.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll jump in quick with my story. So I spent a decade working in the nonprofit space, and I was doing business development and fundraising, and I kept getting that like entrepreneurial itch. I had started 2 businesses in the past when I was an undergrad and really wanted to do it again, but I was really concerned about that safety net. And I hit a point where I had an opportunity to work on a major deal. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and Barclays Center was about to open up. And I worked with a team of people to negotiate jobs for people who were from the community within the arena, right when it opened up. And so we got a couple hundred jobs for people, but I really got to see this public sector, private sector interaction where I was hearing companies say, we have an idea of what we can help the community with, and here's our idea, and the community saying, no, we told people what we want, and that's not it. So I was like, there's some kind of miscommunication going on here, and this could be an opportunity to lower that wealth gap, that big bridge and gap we're always talking about, and really do something. And so I spent years researching and decided in 2018 is time, like there's no better time than now. And it's because I kept getting more immersed in deals like that, where I saw the problem and I felt like I was looking around like, is no one else seeing this? Does no one else want to get into it? So I dove headfirst into it, and yeah, 2 years, maybe 3 years, we're closing in on later. We found a solution to that like communication gap that happens.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll add to that. That question about what made you jump into this journey. And so I would say for me that I'm one of those very strategic and intentional folks who went to college and mastered what they told me to master, paid the money, and really believed that I could master it on my own, right? And so after grad school, I took off to work for 3 of the world's largest gaming and hospitality corporations in corporate human resources. And from there, I was able to get some experience, right? To be able to understand the industry and to be able to be a servant leader first, right? And so that helped me to hone my skills. And so in November 2017, I ended up leaving corporate America to go full-time as an entrepreneur. And within less than 2 years, we were recruiting for Fortune 100 clients. And we've been hiring amazing people across the country since.
Perfect. So a lot of stuff I love there. Taisha, the incident that you mentioned of these opportunities and lack of information, one of the points, at least in my business life, that was most disappointing was I was at a business meeting for an African American and Black community business organization, and there was a gentleman who stood up. It was after the recession, and he said, "We want to know where the money from the shovel-ready projects went to." Right. And that broke my heart because by the time you're asking that, it's too late.
Yeah.
Right. And we find ourselves today at the precipice of all of these announcements around social justice and equity. And we don't want to be on the other side wondering what happened to the money from these announcements.
Sure.
Right. So We have an opportunity today, and I'd love you to address this because I am really optimistic, which is why we started BCPA. How are you feeling about being a Black business owner, a Black female business owner right now? Yeah, even in relation to a year ago.
I'll jump in super quick. I think that timing is everything, and I think that this bubble has like popped. And there's venture funds, and I think it started a couple of years ago, and this was right around the tech, like going back to Regina, the time when Black Women Talk Tech, like that conference started, like people really started having conversations about what is Black woman leadership like in startup industry and in tech in general, and then moving even beyond that. And then all these reports started coming. So then it became this like frenzy where now like venture funds are like literally on Twitter, like, tag, below if you know a Black woman entrepreneur, I'm interested in potentially investing in their fund. And honestly, that's how I got one of our investors at our company. So I feel like it is a really unique time because that's happening. That said, there's still so much back work to be done. I'm like honored to be doing this work at this time and to be able to be on a panel with these amazing women, but also very cognizant of the fact that like, there's still a lot of work to be done, and I want to use every opportunity to make sure we can make the, whatever's happening in like the public side and the frenzy match the actual work being done, and it's not just talk.
Yeah, I can definitely add to that. It's a crazy time, but a good time to take advantage, as you mentioned, of the investors, the accelerators, the different programs that are, really focused on, Black women and Black men, and then especially all of the racial equity initiatives that have launched over the years. And, I've worked with so many major corporations for the last few years. So definitely excited about the people that were doing it prior to 2020 that have been doing it for years and knowing the importance of it. And then some of their work got announced in 2020, right? So we have to look at all of that. Did you just start in 2020 or did you start years before and now people are learning and understanding more of what you do? So we have to make sure that we're acknowledging people that have been doing the work for many, many years. So definitely thankful for companies like Google for Startups and Microsoft that have been doing it for a really long time. And then for us as a company, because we help companies really compare and measure different suppliers, track and measure your different projects and suppliers that are associated with them, we, have had the opportunity to work with a lot of organizations focused on their racial inequity initiatives to really track that ROI and make sure that, you're not only relationship mapping to say, hey, I interacted with this company, they went from 50K to 1 million, because they participated in this, they had a project on this, a pilot with this person, and they were able to take advantage of initiatives and programs such as what Lonnie, explained earlier. So we've been excited as a company because now people are trying to diversify their supply chain, diversify the companies that they're purchasing from and selling to. So excited, but definitely want to make sure that we're continuing it past, the shutdown, right? When people get busy and things start to happen, but definitely very excited for the folks that we've had to work with thus far.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, Tiffany. We are in, I think, one of the most amazing times in history to be Black women, to be Black founders, right? To be people of color that are geniuses that just haven't been recognized and have been here, right? We didn't just get here. This is not the new Black founders. It's not just us. There's a society of amazing Black women out there, brown women, right? And so we have to be cognizant of that as well. This is not news to us, right? It may be news to America, but like the saying says, if you stay ready, you won't have to get right. And so the women that have been ready are now in position and being moved to the front of the line, which is great, right? Thank God. And so we now have initiatives like this Black African American Partner Initiative from Microsoft that is extraordinary, okay? This is huge news for the Black and Brown community. It is not to be underestimated. The Black Channel Partner Alliance, we are going to be a catalyst to helping Black businesses to scale and to grow. And we're going to be able to do this together. It's about community and partnership, like Lonnie said.
Perfect. So let's talk about fundraising and funding your companies, right? So I mentioned the phrase that you hear periodically that, your first funders are family, friends, and fools, right? So for you, as you started your business, how much time, how much funding did you get from family and how much did you get from friends? We'll tackle the fools later.
Yeah.
Zero?
Zero.
Did anyone get funding from family and friends?
I did have one early investment, which was actually from my husband, and that like kickstarted things off. And that
Brilliant.
was the first thing I got. Nothing else beyond that until 18 months later, where I got my first actual investor on. But it was an 18-month struggle. Like, it was hard. Trying to break into this industry, meeting with people where I don't fundamentally, like, I know all about qualitative data. I know all about my industry. Venture capital terms are being thrown left and right. And I was like, I don't even know how to speak this language. Like, whoa, I have no social capital in this industry. So it was a very hard learning curve.
Right.
Well, I think that lines up really well with, the idea of, these new grant programs and the program that Lani mentioned for zero percent capital, right? That's available. It's pretty interesting because I'm talking to some other founders. Through COVID and PPP is the first time that a number of founders have actually had the capacity to have a buffer, right? Which is crazy, right? And then you think about, well, what if you operated like that all the time? What kind of business could you actually build with a buffer in place?
Yeah.
So that makes the announcements exciting. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of one friend that gave me a loan of like $5,000, but asked for it back in like a year. So I don't know if I count that yet.
Hey.
But thankfully, I have, amazing investors now. I've gotten my, first investor, in 2019 and have grown our investor list since then. But prior to that, similar to Taisha, never had that experience of obtaining investors because I was always self-funded or got a little side hustle to pay myself and pay my team or whatever I had to do to maintain my company. So unfortunately, my friends and family not having that extra money, living paycheck to paycheck to give 5, 10, 15, 25K, and then learn and spoke to my network of how to start raising. And then being able to successfully raise since then, since 2019, fast forward now to 2021. And we have from angel investors to VC and also received, an investment from Google for startups. So we have amazing investors now, but it was definitely a learning curve, like she said, of the language and the finance that you got to send them and all of that, I wish that I would have learned earlier because it took me a minute before I, got our first check-in.
Yeah.
Tiffany, that sounds like the content for a great standalone session at the next event that either WIC or BCPA holds.
Right. Yes.
Very cool. So let's talk about support, right? So, and I think we've alluded to it. Was everyone around you, family, friends, super excited that you were going to start a business and really help to propel it to success? Lots of head shaking. Who wants this one?
I think go ahead, Edith.
Okay. I would say for me, it has been rough because when you're starting out, especially as a founder, you're so excited about something, that thing becomes your whole world. And it's difficult for people around you to understand that passion. So number one, you look crazy. Okay, you're going to look nuts, at least for like 3 solid years. All the ladies are like, yeah, you're going to look nuts, number one. Number two, they're probably not going to understand because like Tiffany's saying, you have to pump money into it. And it's very hard for you to actually get anything out. So they're like, what are you doing? Where's the profits? Where's your money? Like, you should go back, go get a good job. Edith, you have 2 masters. What are you doing? So there's that element. And then there's still the part of them not understanding the amount of time you have to put into your business. So it eats, literally being a founder, if you're not careful, it sucks the life out of you. And so that's one of the things I have had to be very careful about, and having people in my life understand what it means to be a founder, and understanding that it's important to support founders. I constantly tell people, if you're listening and you're not a founder and you know a founder, just text them and be like, hi, how are you? You know, like, I support you. Like, what do you need from me? I think it's so important and it's so underrated. Lauren, go ahead.
Awesome. Everything that's being said needs to be said. And so, you know, we have a very unique experience as Black women and Black people, because unlike our white counterparts, we don't have the privilege most often to have that seed funding from our family and friends, you know, where typically that's what startups do. That's the first round, go to your family and friends. And so we don't have that kind of wealth in our community just yet. We're building it though. And so once we get there, then I think a lot of these challenges will, you know, take care of themselves, right? But what we've got to do is we've got to unite. Like Queen Latifah, UNIT, right? Okay. We have to have community. We have to have spaces like this, you know? We have to have Black Women Talk Tech. We have to have all of these things that play their part in our journey of really having access and being equal in this space. And so, you know, so many challenges we could talk about, but let's triumph through it. Let's give them the good stuff, you know, that they need, so that they can rock out and get on these stages with us.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Cool. So, you know, I have to make sure that we get this question in before the panel's done. So June, July of last year, all the large companies went out and made the announcements, right? So they've got the marketing capital that comes from announcing how they're supporting Black founders. And I would love to hear from your personal perspective about your personal business, and also businesses like yours by default, right? What is it that you would say to the CEOs that are out there leading these announcements, right? Satya Nadella is one, and you know, Microsoft has stepped up, so you know, we've seen that. But what would you say about your business specifically that could drive you to substantial growth? If Satya was here, or the CEOs was here. No one wants to take it either. Edith, it's yours.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me take it, because mine is a bit different. I will try and be as honest as possible. I think there's something that's happening in the world where there is a move towards supporting Black founders, African American founders, and I am here for it. But then for some reason, people forget that there's also Africa, which is where the African Americans originate from. And if you look at all the amazing tech founders in the US, guess what? They're actually African immigrants. So all of this wealth in terms of tech businesses, and I say this because I work with these founders, I support these founders on a day-to-day. All of the value that they bring to the table, all of the amazing social impact that they're creating, all of the jobs that they're creating, guys, they're struggling to create these things. Why? Because access to capital, I think, is our biggest thing. It's never been about the ideas. It's never been about the integrity. It's never been about the community or the market. Everything is ready. For them, it has always been the capital. And I'm hearing the Microsofts and the Googles and all these companies, they're shouting and they're loud in America, but where are they in the African continent? Because I cannot see them, I cannot hear them, and I cannot feel their impact. And as a person who works in 12 African countries, that says something, you know? I'm all over the continent, so you cannot say that I'm not in the right place. So I'm just challenging them, okay? When we say African American, when we say Black, please include Africa in that map, because we are the origin.
So Edith, if I get this correctly, your message to Dangote and Masiwa is that they need to fund African startups significantly better than they are, and that also needs to cross over here.
Yeah. So yes, all of that.
There you go. Okay.
So even for us, it's, using a platform like Stimulus to really track that relationship building between, the suppliers that you're working with, and digitizing it and showing them going from, small pilots to large pilots over a period of time, and having them take advantage of those initiatives that you are, putting out there, and making sure you're mapping all of that, mapping that they are part of this program, mapping that they're working with this team, mapping that they, are, growing their team. They went from 5 people to 10 people. And that's one thing we haven't seen across the board when it comes to buyers and vendors, but especially when it comes to that relationship gap that we see between, Black-owned businesses and these enterprises. You need to map that information to really show that ROI, so you continue to do it past that 1 year, 2 year, 3 year mark that you always seem to put on these types of initiatives, right? Versus I'm just doing this forever, which you should just say, but it stops at a certain time frame. So just making sure, and to what Ida said, of like, some of it was just resources and no money, and then sometimes it was money with no resources. So making sure that you're adding not only connections and resources, but also monetary things, because you can't grow without money. You can't pay your team, you can't build your product without money, but you still need those resources to know how to spend that money. And also allowing us to showcase our thought leadership, right? I think people forget that part, where adding us to your speaker lineup and putting us on stages and paying us to be on these stages, let me say that, and us not doing it for free, and making sure that we're part of these conferences and these blogs and the content that you're putting out there, not just as a Black woman in tech, but an expert in whatever field that we are in.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I want to
Tiffany,
echo.
Go ahead, Taja.
Oh, sorry. I just want to amplify what Lauren and Tiffany said earlier, and mentioned. When June of last year hit, I was sitting down, and at one point I was watching an ad on TV, and it was a Procter & Gamble ad, and it was just about racism. And at the end they said, we need to do more. We need to focus on anti-racism. And so when I started this company, I was talking about anti-racism and decolonizing how we gather data, and corporations and venture funds all looked at me like, anti-what? Decolonize who? And then for that Procter & Gamble ad, it was like, oh, really? This is how we're going to do it. So first, I want to amplify what they said, because don't necessarily think that you have to be like, all right, what kind of ad campaign do we have to put together? There are industry experts out there who know this stuff. And so find the experts, like find Lauren's, Edith's, Tiffany, my companies, and amplify the work that we do. And like, too, if anyone knows somebody at Procter & Gamble, I want to talk to them, because that is something that like y'all can amplify additional experts for. So yeah.
Perfect. So Tiaja, that's what I love, because it's a direct ask. So you need to find someone at Procter & Gamble.
They may be in the audience.
and Tiffany, so if companies want to truly diversify their supply chain and get some growth in some of those small vendors that they have, they need to engage with Stimulus to get that done. Is that
Right.
Am I hearing that correctly?
IO, that's right.
Okay, and they know where to find you, so that's perfect. Excellent. Lauren, so direct ask, you're sitting in front of a CEO that says, we're engaged and committed to increasing our Black suppliers, all in recruiting.
Yeah, that'll be my first point, right?
Okay, come on, let's hear about it.
You want to diversify the workforce, as it should be, right? So when you think about it, these are not new concepts. These are not foreign things, right? But every company now in the country has the same initiative, which we love, right? But the reality is that, we've been here, and we are experts, like Tiffany said, in our respective fields. And so we're working maybe in smaller capacities with smaller businesses, but we can scale, we can grow, right? And we can meet the need. And so this initiative that Microsoft has put forth It's going to help us have access to mentors, access to accelerator programs, access to an amazing network like the women that are in this room. And, on this conference, there's over 180 people speaking, So this is just a space for us to do what we're saying that we can do and to really get it done. So get in that chat, right? Let's get in the chat. Let's throw some LinkedIn profiles in here. Let's connect and take action. We're having a great conversation, but let's give you some that you need to start your business. Let's get you in front of the jobs that you're qualifying for, right? And let's get you in front of the possible mentors at Microsoft that may be able to help you grow your business so that you can take advantage of the opportunities in the market with them.
Perfect. So I love that you mentioned that, Lauren, because shameless self-promotion does not come naturally to a lot of people from our communities. So everyone in the audience has permission now to go ahead and promote what it is you do, where you are, and who you need to connect to on this panel and otherwise, so that other people know what you're doing. Okay, so let's go to, so we had an interesting conversation around failure, right? So, and being supported. So, can you talk about failure and really how you've recovered from it and what your outlook is on failure as a business owner? So who wants it?
I'll go first. I'm just going to be the guinea pig for all of this.
I'm going to stop asking that and just say, Edith, go ahead and answer, and then everyone else.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll just work better. I think in terms of failure, it's something that I've realized as an entrepreneur founder, but then also being a CEO, right? I'm going to do it every day. I wake up knowing I will fail every single day in one way or another. Why? Because perfection cannot exist and allow space for growth. If you are perfect, there is nowhere you have to go. There is no room for you to improve. You are basically at your max. And as a founder, you're basically in a space where the world is your playing ground, right? So if you are in one country, then you know you're going to fail because you're trying to get to other markets, right? So I think for me, failure is something that I'm open to, something that I allow to grow me as a person, something that I allow myself to learn from. And I think that has been so core for me as a CEO, as a leader, to know, okay, I don't know everything. Let me ask the team, what do you think? What are your thoughts? No matter what level you're at in the company, what do you think? Give me feedback. Is there anything I'm doing wrong? Tell me how I can do this better. So I think that's one thing with failure, but then also falling forward. So when you fail, you fall down, but then fall forward. What does this mean? Don't allow the failure to drag you behind. Allow it to propel you forward. And that is all because of your attitude, the mentality that you have, but then also who you surround yourself with. And that's why I love meeting ladies like these amazing ones, right? Because that becomes a circle that then influences thought processes. But you'll go ahead.
I love that.
Edith.
No, I love that. I think for me is understanding that we label so much under failure, but is it really a failure, right? Maybe you pivoted, maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you got a no right now, but then got a yes from that same person or investor a month later. So maybe you just have to have a different approach. I think we put too much under the word failure, like I failed and I got to start over. And not everything is really a failure, right? Like I remember pivoting Stimulus in 2019 and we started in 2017. And, at first it felt like a failure, but I'm like, no, you just expanded the product. And from there got customers, and from there got your first investor. So it wasn't failure because we still had a lot of the same things. We just changed our path because I now knew how to do it better. So I think we have to look at if it's considered a failure, or maybe it just considered something else. So if we look at it in a different way, maybe we'll be a little bit more optimistic about what just happened. If you hire wrong is not a failure. You live, you learn, and now you just hire someone better that, you know, taught you how to hire the next person better. So I think it's looking at different titles and really understanding what is truly a failure and what is not a failure as well.
Perfect. Okay, let's talk a little about self-care and finding time in that entrepreneur lifestyle. So how do you look after yourselves, given the workload that it takes to launch a business?
I love the face everyone made. Like,
We don't really know. That's the problem. You have to do it well. You got to get better.
Okay, so is someone going to address this, or we're just going to talk about it?
I'll go for it. So you know, the entrepreneur journey is one that borders mental instability. Let's just be honest, right? We're all a little crazy for telling our families they were wrong about our, you know, their perception on our dreams. And so, you know, we are the type of people that are willing to endure that, right? So if you want to be a founder or you're aspiring to, you have to be able to persevere through mental instability. That's the truth. That is the truth. You'll be in the face of disappointment, in the face of fear, in the face of brokenness. Okay, that's money, brokenness. Did I make that word up? Okay, yeah. So we can all agree on, you know, the lows are what are part of the journey. They make us great. You know, I was talking to a young woman yesterday who has aspiring dreams too, and she's like, I'm so broke. And I was like, yeah, girl, that's the good part. Yeah. I don't know the good part. We've all been there, though. We've all been there. And this is the conversation that they have to understand. They need to know. You know, it's not just great that we have beautiful pictures and offices and great companies. There were processes that we went through, right? There were processes. And people need to know about that. We're not crazy, but you're kind of crazy, a little crazy. It's managed crazy. You know, be willing to do that, be misunderstood, and after that, you'll be phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know about the brokenness being the good part, but like, it allow you to figure out how to, you know, turn $1 into $10.
Innovative.
You learn how to spend money better once you have a team. Like, oh, I can stretch this money. Like,
Okay, so I think I will eventually have to reel us back in here. Okay, so you're here talking to your younger self. What advice do you give yourself? Like, you know, you go back a few years, you know, when it was you, maybe you and one other person in the business. What advice do you give yourself?
Okay, I'm a guinea pig.
Go ahead.
I would say to younger Edith, number one, stay anchored in the vision, right? Because I feel like no one reminded me that at the time, to continuously just stay anchored in what I was trying to accomplish, but then also take up space, right? As a founder, it's okay to actually take up space. It's okay as a Black person to be noticed in the room, to be acknowledged, to be celebrated because of what you've achieved. You know, speak up, say what you need to say, get paid for it, okay? Like Tiffany said. And just be in charge. Be whoever you need to be that CEO, level up and do it unashamedly. That's what I'd say.
yeah, I would say when you receive a no, a better yes is around the corner. I used to let no's hit me so hard. I'll be depressed for like 24 hours. Like, I gotta know. And now I could yes and be excited and understand that no meant something else was better coming along. So I think understanding that whether it's investor, customer, whatever, that some no's can turn into yeses later, or a better yes will come around the corner. And then secondly, I would say self-awareness is important. It helps you be vulnerable, act for help when you need help, hire your team when you need to hire your team, and really expand on who you are and who you want to become as a founder.
Perfect. And I think a couple of things that you mentioned there that are really important, Tiffany. One of the things is that all yeses aren't actually yeses until they're checks that have cleared the bank account. So there's that. let's just keep track of that.
And that's your checks too.
There you go. Tasia.
I think I would definitely say stay focused on what you're doing, and not all advice is good advice. Because I think,
girl,
when we talk about younger self, I'm talking about even 2 years ago right now. Like when I first really got into this, I was getting advice left and right and left and right. And every piece of advice, I'd be like, okay, maybe we could do that. Okay, maybe I could figure this out. And then I was like, wait a second. This person isn't even in my industry. Why am I taking advice from them? Or like I would do a pitch event and I would take all of this information and be like, okay, great. And like go research the investors, and they're perhaps angel investors in a syndicate and they've never started their own business, and they're telling me how to like form. And I was like, wait, like this is, I need to filter the advice I'm getting. So I created my own special filter cap. That way I'm like, all right, some of this is good and helpful. If I hear it over and over again, I'll apply it. But unless you're an industry expert, I'm not just gonna take any advice anywhere. So that threw me for a loop for a good 12 months.
Wow. Yeah, I think, to echo the ladies, like Edith said, take up your space, await that better yes, like Tiffany just mentioned, and what Taisha said. So we literally have to be outrageously optimistic. If you want to be successful, you have to be outrageously optimistic. And that is in the face of no's, right? In the face of no one understands what you're doing or what you have going on. Keep that optimism. It is the number one ingredient for successful entrepreneurs. Be willing to get it out of the mud, okay? And that is from, I don't know if you listen to rap music, I'm sure we do, Black. But, trending rap song, be willing to get it out of the mud. What is it? It's your dream. What is the mud? Be mad, be unrelenting, be determined to get that, okay? And seek and use uncommon wisdom. You can refer to Proverbs 16 in the Bible if that's your go-to, but seeking wisdom will definitely be your strongest asset as a woman in business.
Perfect. Way to round it out. So, there's this great phrase which says success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And, part of what really excites me in talking to all of you is just seeing the enthusiasm and the energy you have and how you're building community and really putting yourself out there, because it's, I think when people are viewing people that are on stage or speaking, the assumption is this is natural for them, right? But we all know that every day you have to stretch who you are and your capabilities so that you can keep growing to be a better version of you. So I have advertised this event as my most inspirational event of the year and a must attend. I am so grateful for all of you for letting me share the time with you. And I look forward to collaborating with you, both with the BCPA and with Women in Cloud. Thank you. And over to Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing panel. I mean, just unbelievable content there. Very inspirational and empowering. I know they got me fired up on a couple of the responses. So thank you, panelists, and looking to engage with all of you again. We're going to definitely have to do this again sometime very soon. And next up, I'd like to bring up Danny Brown. Danny Brown is who's going to talk about the Black Channel Partner Alliance. Danny Brown is a serial entrepreneur, business executive, channel partner, and 8-year military veteran. He brings over 15 years of data experience to the technology industry as president of Meetup, a cloud distributor and training organization for managed service providers. Meetup is a veteran, minority-owned, hub-zone business and a dedicated distributor for AppGallop and Clip Training. Danny is also a founding partner of the Black Channel Partner Alliance, and he also is the current president of the IAMCP Austin chapter, and he's on the U.S. board for the IAMCP and leads the sponsorship and DEI committees in Austin, Texas. With that, Danny, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Frank. I don't know where I put my time each day, just very busy. But good evening. I want to tell you a little bit about BCPA. The Black Channel Partner Alliance is a nonprofit organization founded with the mission to support Black founders and entrepreneurs to scale their businesses. Our goal over the next 3 years is to support over 100 Black firms and to grow 800 net new tech jobs and add $100 million to the economy, including 1,000 digital transformations. Wow, that's amazing. That's a lot of ambitions and goals. So what do I do at BCPA as a co-founder? My job at BCPA is to prospect Black-owned firms who are interested in going through our accelerated program. Right now, we are focused on supporting 3 types of Black-owned firms. 1, ISVs, 2, managed service providers, and 3, staffing and recruiting firms. So if you know a Black owner in one of these particular firms, send them my way. I would love to tell them about the BCPA. I would love to tell them about the accelerated program and the work that we're doing with IMCP and Microsoft. So what can you do to help? If you have an organization that has an initiative, a D&I initiative, and you want to have a diverse workforce, contact us, reach out to us. As companies that go through our accelerated program, they may be able to help you out. They may be able to assist you with your staffing needs. They may be able to assist you with your technology needs. If you have some type of software, something you wish to create, they also may be able to assist your IT needs if you're growing in that particular area. If you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to sponsor and be part of this vision to help our vision become a reality, we invite you. Please look us up. Go to our website to find out more. But lastly, for everyone here today, I'd like to invite you to our celebration, our upcoming celebration, our RISE event. Our RISE event will be taking place on the 20th of February in 2021. So please, to learn more about our programs, to meet the rest of the members of our board, or to meet like-minded people just like yourself, go to www.bcpalliance.com and submit us with your information. We look forward to seeing you. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to partnering with you. Thank you very much. Frank?
All right. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you. And now I'd love to bring up on the stage our sponsor, Ram Dutt of Mela, a dynamic business executive, entrepreneur, and community leader with a passion for solving complex business problems in technology and entrepreneurship. He strongly believes in partnerships to create scalable, win-win business models. He's passionate about local economic development, digital equity, and SMBs. He loves to play golf and use golf as a way to make an impact in the community. A man after my own heart. Welcome to the floor, Ram Dutt. Take it away, Ram.
Thank you, Frank. This last 2 hours has been just inspirational. I think we made a great decision to sponsor this specific event. BCPA and its community looks to be on a great path to make humongous impact. And Nyasha and his panel was just inspirational and educational both. And I love the phrase outrageous optimism. I think that solves a lot of challenges that we have to endure. So thank you for the opportunity to share a few thoughts. It is our pleasure and privilege to sponsor this event for BCPA. It is in our DNA that we seek opportunities to support initiatives that level the playing field. Today, we live in a world that is surrounded by disconnection and fear of the unknown. But what if amidst of all this emerged one word that could serve as the source of transformation and unification? I believe that one word is access. Access is the bridge that connects us to unlimited growth, opportunity, and prosperity. And at the heart of the igniting access on a global level in digital transformation, we have the power to integrate cloud technologies, marketplace solutions, and enterprise-wide platforms into our cities and businesses that can rebuild economies and launch new partnerships during unprecedented times. The result, access for all races, genders, incomes, communities, and cultures that can co-create bright futures. And this can amplify the voices of our community, just like BCPA, and build a culture for collective action. Building smart communities through digital transformation is at the heart of everything Mela creates. Our mission is to grant economic access for local leaders, businesses, and organizations to build sustainable communities so they can thrive together. Imagine as leaders being able to quickly initiate local economic recovery and help your city's businesses grow through digital transformation. Our Main Street Digital Economic Development Platform allows you to stimulate new economic growth, saving time, money, and resources, support local businesses' profitability with turnkey technology, build a prosperous virtual economy inclusive of all businesses. In addition, Mela is making a pledge to honor the UN Sustainable Development Goals by building resilient infrastructure to promote inclusive industrialization and foster innovation, reducing inequality within and among countries, and using smart technologies to ensure healthy production processes, and revitalizing global partnership to strengthen sustainable development. In closing, I would say we have the power as leaders today to harness digital transformation in a way that can provide inclusive economic access for all, to rebuild struggling economies and offer sustainable opportunities to reinvest in the hardworking businesses without relying on expensive, wasteful infrastructure. That's where cloud innovation technologies and a dedicated purpose-driven initiatives can transform the world we live in today. Please join me and let's work together to build a bright future for all. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ram. And that concludes our session today. But, I want to leave here. I want a couple thoughts before we move to the mentoring. Again, I think this community, bar none, is probably one of the most powerful networking organizations in the world right now. And, it's about making the network. We talked about relationships. And again, I think it's so important for us to network. This is a phenomenal platform, a phenomenal event for us to reach out and engage with those that we want to connect with. So at this time, what I'd like to do is I want to invite you all to join us for some one-on-one mentoring and engagement and networking. And we'll be transporting you all via the Remo limo onto the floor. So looking forward to seeing everybody on the floor to continue some networking. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ram, for your sponsorship. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Lonnie, for all the support. And thank you, panelists, and Regina and Lonnie for just a phenomenal event. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing everyone on the floor now.